What if Disney's future hinged on one kid and one risky pivot the studio had never pulled off before? What if their first full live-action adventure nearly collapsed mid-shoot because that kid wasn't legally cleared to work? This is Disney's Treasure Island. The swashbuckler that forged a legendary Long John Silver proved Disney could thrive beyond animation and turned a high-stakes gamble into a new era. These are the top 10 weird Treasure Island moments from behind the film that changed Disney forever. Fact number 10. Disney almost lost the kid who carries the movie. Let's start with the chaos. Disney nearly lost the kid who carries the whole film. Because the production ran into Britain's child labor work permit rules, and accounts note Bobby Driscoll, playing Jim Hawkins, may not have met the age permit requirements at the time under the rules then. Meaning, the studio could have been told, stop filming with them. And here's the human stake. Jim Hawkins isn't a side character. He's the heartbeat. He finds the map, overhears the mutiny, walks into danger first, and drags us with him. So this wasn't minor paperwork. This was, the movie might not be able to finish the movie. And Disney's response wasn't calm. It was basically full speed ahead. Fact number 9. They turned the shoot into a real-life countdown. Now watch what happens. Once the issue landed, the production couldn't just keep filming at a normal pace and hope nobody noticed. They had to treat the schedule like a fuse. Because if things went the wrong way, Driscoll could be pulled from work, and suddenly you've got no Jim Hawkins, no point-of-view hero, and a pirate movie with no one to carry the map, the secrets, or the audience's heartbeat. So Disney did what you do when your ship takes on water. They reworked the schedule and pushed to get Driscoll scenes shot as quickly as possible. Basically, get in the can now strategy. And that pressure has a funny side effect. It gives the movie momentum. Treasure Island moves like it's being chased, because behind the camera, it kind of was. And the reason the stakes were this high? Because this wasn't just a movie. It was a turning point. Fact number 8. The real treasure was money Disney couldn't bring home. Okay, this is the most pirate-coded studio fact ever. After World War II, Britain had strict rules about moving money out of the country. American companies could earn money in the UK, but often couldn't easily convert it to US dollars and take it home. So the money piled up, called blocked funds or frozen funds, which is basically, congratulations, you found treasure, and the treasure chest is locked, and the lock is British. So Disney did the most pirate thing possible. A huge chunk of Treasure Island's budget came from blocked money Disney and RKO had earned in Britain, funds they couldn't easily take home. So instead, they spent it the only sensible way. They made a movie there. Not a tiny movie, not a quiet experiment, a big, classic, instantly marketable adventure. So when you watch Treasure Island, you're not just watching pirates, you're watching Disney turning stuck treasure into a global story. And that move pushed Disney into a huge first. Fact number 7. Disney's first fully live-action feature. Here's the headline moment. Treasure Island was Disney's first fully live-action feature film. That's not a trivia footnote. That's a pivot. Disney's identity had been built on animation, on drawings that felt alive. Live action is a different ocean. Different crews, different logistics, different risks, and a totally different kind of, if this fails, we feel it. And here's the real stake. If this flops, Disney doesn't just lose money, they lose confidence. They lose the courage to step into a new era. So Disney wasn't just making a pirate movie, Disney was proving Disney could be more than animation. And pirates were the perfect test. Because live action needs motion, danger, comedy, and characters so vivid they practically animate themselves anyway. Which brings us to the man who makes the whole movie crackle. Fact number 6. The Long John Silver that shaped how pirates feel. If you've ever heard someone do a pirate voice, grin first, trouble second, there's a good chance you're hearing the aftershock of Robert Newton. Newton's Long John Silver wasn't just good, it became wildly influential. And here's the Captain Blood-style truth. This performance didn't just work, it basically crowned a pirate king. If you've ever heard pirate talk in a cartoon or a theme park, this is ground zero energy. His version is charming, slippery, funny, and always 1/2 second away from reminding you this is still a pirate story. He's the kind of character where you think, I like this guy, and then you remember, I should not like this guy. That's the magic. You're entertained while danger keeps smiling. And behind the scenes, the pressure got so real that the boss reportedly showed up to steer the ship. Fact number 5. Walt Disney reportedly showed up to land the ending. Here's the pressure point. This was Disney's first fully live-action feature, produced in Britain under real schedule pressure, carrying the weight of proving the studio could do this. So Walt didn't just stay in California and wait for a telegram. Production history accounts note Walt flew back to England to oversee the final shooting at Denham Studios. And when Walt Disney gets on a plane to supervise the finish line, that's not a vibe, that's a signal flare. This matters. Don't miss. Because if this movie works, Disney opens a door. And if it doesn't, that door can slam shut for a long time. And to make it work, the film had to feel real. Wind, water, distance. Not stagey, not fake. Fact number 4. Why it feels like you can smell the ocean. This is why the movie still feels salty and real. Because it doesn't look like a movie trapped on a backlot pretending to be the sea. Exteriors were filmed around Cornwall, using coastal and river scenery that gives the film that salt-in-the-air texture. Other UK locations were used too. Then everything was blended with studio work at Denham Studios. That combination is the magic trick. Real landscapes give the adventure authenticity. Studio sets give the action control. Editing stitches it into one seamless pirate dream. It's like a travel postcard with mutiny, and a guy smiling at you while he's holding a knife. And once you've got the ocean in the frame, the camera has to sell the storybook magic, which brings us to the eye behind the lens. Fact number 3. The camera work that made Disney look confident. This is why it doesn't feel like Disney guessing at live action. The cinematographer was Freddie Young. Even if you don't recognize the name, you can feel the effect. Clean light, deliberate composition, and that storybook but real look Disney needed. Because the goal wasn't only to entertain. It was to prove we can play in the live-action big leagues. And visually, Treasure Island doesn't blink. Okay, so it survives the schedule crisis, it looks fantastic, it's Disney's first full live-action feature, but did the gamble pay off? Oh yes. Fact number 2, the box office that said, do this again. This is where the studio exhaled. Because all these behind-the-scenes twists only matter if the movie works. And it did. It reportedly earned about $4.1 million in worldwide rentals, strong enough to validate Disney's live-action gamble. That's the sound of Disney's live-action era being born. That's the green light. Translation. This wasn't nice try, this was proof. Proof that Disney could do live-action. Proof that Disney could shoot overseas. Proof that Disney could expand beyond animation without losing the Disney magic. So Treasure Island didn't just make money, it made a future. And if Captain Blood is the swashbuckler template, Treasure Island is the Disney version that proved the adventure formula still had wind in its sails. And the final reveal ties it all together, because this story began as one of the most famous adventure books ever written, and it almost became something totally different. Fact number 1, the classic book and the Disney version that almost was animated. Now for the full circle ending. Yes, Treasure Island is based on the classic novel by Robert Louis Stevenson. It basically wrote the rulebook for pirate mythology. The treasure map, the buried gold, the mutiny, the charm you don't fully trust, and the danger that never stops smiling. But here's the Disney twist. Before it became Disney's first fully live-action feature, Disney considered it as an animated film. And you can see why. The characters are vivid, the set pieces are iconic, the mood swings are bold, it's practically begging to be drawn. But circumstances nudged Disney toward live action. At exactly the moment Disney needed to grow beyond animation, and at exactly the moment making a film in Britain made financial sense. So in a strange way, Treasure Island is Disney saying, we can take a storybook classic and make it feel real. Not by drawing it, by building it, filming it, and sailing into a whole new chapter of Disney history. So there you have it, 10 weird Treasure Island moments. A kid lead caught in a clearance storm. A production racing the clock. Frozen Treasure funding the whole thing. Walt reportedly showing up to land the ending. Cornwall atmosphere giving it sea salt realism. Freddie Young making it look confident. A Long John Silver that became wildly influential. A box office win that validated Disney's pivot. And a Stevenson classic that almost became animation before it helped launch Disney's live-action era. This pirate movie didn't just find treasure, it found Disney's next era. And if you like classic adventure movies with behind-the-scenes stories that feel even crazier than the plot, hit subscribe, because we're not done. And hey, if you haven't seen my Captain Blood breakdown yet, go watch that next. It's packed with wild behind-the-scenes twists. And it's the perfect companion piece to this one. Next time, we're diving into another how did they pull this off Hollywood ride. I'll see you in the next adventure.